Hello everyone, this is Reuben from Lightmare Studios, and I'll be joining Agent Coyle for a showcase match. Say hello, Coyle.
Thanks, Reuben. Yes, I'm Agent Coyle, and I'm back for another match. Good luck.
Here's the deck we're playing today. I'm playing a Flame Dawn, double Flame Dawn Sleepers deck. This is showcasing off two of the new cards as commanders. We've got Immolated Ghoul and the Volcano class Carrier. Volcano class Carrier has not yet been revealed, so I'll showcase that card in more detail. And then finally I got Sekulus in the command zone, and we're going for like a swarm deck with some graveyard synergies, including Lost Night. So we're going to be quite aggressive, and we'll see how this goes.
And as for my deck, we're running 2 Descendants of the Dragon and 1 Cult of Aurora as our purity, and we'll be showing off a bunch of new cards today. So let's just get into it.
So we've got new Revelations background in there, showing off Prass, who is one of our core characters who is getting up to no good. Revelations is all about multiple factions coming together as micro-rifts tear apart the world.
Okay, so we're loading in now, and yes, Reuben is on 1 Sleeper and 2 Flame Dawn. It's got the Immolated Ghoul, which is a new card, but we're going to show off Crestmoor here. So here we go, we have Crestmoor is one of the 3 cards we'll be showing off today. He has been revealed by Platform Disciple in one of his videos, so do check him out. He's got some amazing content. We are going to need to take our turn quickly here. I will mulligan that, hopefully we'll get something better. We do. So, either go Ghost of the Ancestors or Alshon. I think this turn we will develop Ghost of the Ancestors, so we have something to respond to.
Okay, so no 1-drops in my opening hand, so we're probably going to go for Immolated Ghoul. This is a new hybrid purity card that has Flame Strike 2 and characters killed by Immolated Ghoul are removed. This is quite a good defensive defensive card that can come down, block early aggression, but only really effective against small things, doesn't really do a lot against larger things. Also can help against graveyard strategies. The other card that I'm going to be showing off today is Volcano class Carrier. This is a dual purity Flame Dawn card, free cost, with 6 loyalty. It's a 4/8, so pretty low stat line, character artificial, but it has pay 5, create 2 Flame Dawn aspirants in front of your assault zone, and if carrier class is deployed, other characters in your assault zone you control have +1/+0. Okay, did look like I ran out of time there while I was but let's continue. So we're going to go with Last Sleeper, just a very solid Sleeper of Avarat card, and this will go well with some of our graveyard synergies that we're going to have with one of the other cards I'll be revealing later today.
Okay, so Reuben hasn't done much with his turn, but that's okay. Works in our favour. So here we go. We've got a Leader's Attendant, who's another one of these reveals for Revelations. So when you cast your second ability card each turn, if a Leader's Attendant is deployed, your opponent loses 2 morale. So we've loaded this deck with a lot of ability cards, so hopefully later on, if she survives, we're going to start doing some good morale damage. So this is meant to be a morale burn deck. I haven't done one of these in a while, but we have some really interesting cards in Revelations that can kind of change the way things work. So for example, Crestmoor, he deals morale damage instead of fortress damage. 12/8, that's a lot of damage, and he also has 2 lives, so quite useful.
But yeah, Volcano class Carrier, because it gives all your other characters in the assault zone +1/+0 while it's deployed, it acts as kind of a mini Bromwich, but that can also generate its own army. So very nice, especially with one of the other new cards in Revelations, Quarantine Break. This creates 8 2/2 undead characters. They become exhausted for 2 turns and it has a recall. So very slow, but creates just a ginormous amount of characters, and so if all of them have +1/+0, that is a huge increase in overall power. Okay. We've got a Pyre Quartermaster who can search for Pyre Fortress of the Flamedawn, but we've already got one in hand. We can also create a Flamedawn Aspirant in hand. We could play the Volcano class carrier, but we really want to wait a tiny bit until we have slightly more characters in play. So instead we're going to just create the Aspirant as kind of quasi-haste. See what our opponent is up to.
He doesn't have necessarily a lot of answers to flying, so who knows, maybe we'll beat him with physical damage, but I doubt it. Alrighty. Place that out so we can defend. That's about it for this turn. We want to make them lose 8 or more morale to get extra cards if we can pull that off. We can use Lingbow to do that. So when he loses morale, they lose an additional 4 morale, but we'd have to do a bit of damage to ensure. Okay, so he's coming in with his sleeper, of course. Create a Flame Dawn Aspirant in your assault zone. Okay. Do a bunch of damage. Not enough to kill that one. Okay, so here's something. If it's dealt combat damage and survives, that player that dealt the damage loses 5 morale. So, what we could do is to stop an overall assault is sacrifice our ability to do damage to his fortress, which is not really much use to us in the long term. And in fact, if we waited a turn, we could use Overlapping Force to do some real damage to him. And in fact, we can use Overlapping Force to hopefully kill a lot of his units off as well, and then do lots of morale damage, which we're gonna... Oh, we can't do that with that, that's right.
Insight is now a powerful Revelations card. Can make a character permanently unable to block. We might use that later. For now, we're just going to go on the offensive. The question is, do we want to do something like Pyre? Or to just keep getting lots of little tokens out, which will create a Flame Dawn Spirit every turn, or do we want to go for something large and flying like Kali? I think Kali has a lot of morale, so maybe we want to go Pyre, and that'll help with Volcano class carrier can come out. Yep, okay, so good choice there. We're going to get a good chunk of damage here. Opponent playing the Warden of the Wall, more morale damage, so we do need to be careful of that. And this is one of the new cards buried below. I'll show them in just a moment, but I'm going to incite the Warden of the Wall, and so it's not going to be able to block for the rest of the game permanently, and it's great for us. So buried below creates a Wizard of Arrow in our graveyard, and puts the top 2 cards of our deck into our graveyard. So in 3 turns, that Wizard of Arrow come back for free. So it's slow, but it's 1 cost, really great 1 cost ability. And it also feels like really a lot of synergies there. So we're going to do, I think, both of these, and we're going to also get another Pyre next turn. We don't have enough for both Insight and Volcano class carrier. We'll probably bring out the carrier next turn.
Alright, cool. So now that we have some units we can defend with, I'm just going to pop these all up in here and use Overlapping Force, and hopefully we'll be able to trigger this, which means it'll get +2/+2 and gain barrier until the end of next turn, and do some fortress morale damage, or fortress damage that turns into morale damage. So we're going to use Overlapping Force. Hope it works pretty well. It would be good to use this, but we're just 1 short, and we need to defend. So let's So don't go with this. Oof, okay, so Lightning Force goes off, and unfortunately, he can't block. It's going to be problematic. Creating a Risen Maverick on the deck. And we're going to have more spawn. So he's got a lot of damage coming towards us. Okay. Alright.
The question is, do we go for something like Quarantine Break? Or do we start having the Volcano Class carrier out? They're almost definitely going to have to play one of their commanders.
So we're going to have to pull back over here because this character can no longer block. Thanks to Insight, one of the new Revelations cards. Nasty. So what we'll do is we're going to start doing some damage to him and his morale, hopefully if we get through. Depends on if he keeps attacking hard out. Let's see. He's got 2 lives, so let's see what happens.
Quarantine Break, I think is... Oh yeah, we should just double check what happened into our graveyard. We could use Insight again. It does have a recall, so recall's this new ability that lets us play an ability card with recall a second time from the graveyard, it's then removed from the game afterwards. So Quarantine Break gives us just a huge amount of characters that then we can use with both Circles and Volcano. So I think that's going to be the play. They're going to be slow. That's okay. We just got to be careful we don't lose too much morale here. Okay. Quarantine Break. Huge amount of characters. And we're going to get through a little bit of damage. But we are going to take a lot from Crestmoor. So this is it's another new Revelations card. It's a Descendants of the Dragon's Assassin. Deals morale damage instead of fortress damage. It has 2 lives and deadly while in the assault zone. So we really don't want to get hit by this. Yeah. So we can use Schools now that deal giant chunks of damage, as well as Volcano Class Carrier. And what we might do is, do we put Immolated Ghoul in the defense zone? But we really need 2 things. Immolated Ghoul doesn't survive against water. Interesting. Or do we think they're going to use go defensive Crestmoor? That is another option that they might have.
Noticing we don't have a lot of vigilance here. So we could die before him. These are going to be exhausted for 2 turns. So that'll come alive pretty soon. Shout out to Crestmoor, who is the founder of Yoda 1, and this is actually his card finally making it to the game after all these years. That's interesting. Yeah, should have gotten... He lost 8 more morale, so it's alright. It did not trigger. But we'll have that sorted for release. Those guys would work well together. Anyway, by release, those 2 guys will work very well together, and we should be getting that chaining. So, this Warden of the Wall can defend, so we'll use him to defend. And we'll also trigger Limbow, which means he should lose a lot this time. He probably will defend with something in this other zone, but the question is, can we outpace him on the morale damage just by attacking this guy? I don't think so. And these will be active very soon, so we need to be able to deal with that. So we need some good defense. This will come in handy, very handy. The assault zone though, maybe not so handy. Maybe we'll win on health here. Alright. So he's going to lose double morale. This guy has got 2 lives, so...
Yeah, so they're going for the defense, but character can't block because of Insight still. and they are increasing the morale of my characters, so I'm losing 5 morale each time. Oh, not fun. So yeah, I'm down to like 40 morale. Very, very low. But I have 4 of these characters left. So I'm going to chuck them all in the center. We could incite again. We could... Yeah, so we have like incite plus the another quarantine break. Recall, so trying to like play the second time. And yeah, just get these huge chunks of damage out.
Now there's a lot of guys that are about to bear down on us, and let's see if we can do something with it actually. Yeah, we might have to defend with this Jade Golem just so we can start bringing them down. Because that could hurt a lot, especially with this ability to create more Flame Dawn soldiers. Oh, I might just undo that. And we'll take out this thing. All other characters getting +1? I don't think so. Let's do that. And we'll bring out a chef, bring out the Masked Warrior, and then defend with this. Could still take a lot of damage if he has something to make him stumble, which he probably does. But let's see how we go. We still have some proper defense set up for next turn if we can survive. So out come all those guys. Of course, he's going to incite him, just kind of making our deck work the opposite how we intended it to. But that's the fun of having these new cards to contend with. Oh, and out comes some more. So we'll reduce some of the damage through that, which is good. But then we're taking a lot of damage this turn, potentially lethal. So, here we go. Oh, it's close. We're on 2 health here.
2 damage. Our opponent is on 2 health. Nail biting. Absolutely nail biting. Do I have a way of getting through damage? Not in hand at the moment, which is rough. Incite can be recalled. Claw can definitely get me another turn, but I need to make sure not to die this turn. I wonder if I go full defensive and then just use Claw. That gives... So if I go like... Place about like 4 characters in the defense zone, put everyone else back. And then Claw's going to come in unblockable. Help us out here.
Right now we have to defend, so we're going to go all out. Defend with everything that we have. Actually, see what happens here if we activate this, because this will make him lose. When they lose morale this turn, they lose an additional 4 morale. I think that's going to be worth not having any defend and just seeing if we can hold out against all of this horde coming through.
We can also get a flying character too with Carly. I might put 1 more in defense just in case. Yeah, our opponent goes full defensive just as we predicted. Perfect. Yes, and we're not going to lose huge chunks of morale because okay, we're very close to death. We're on 3 morale. Their Jade Golem is going to get buffed.
Okay. And we win. What a game. That was quite a match.
And we end up... No, because they had the end of turn trigger! Because of undefeatable... Unbreakable Warriors. But yeah, so very close. We kind of lost due to the Pyre making the extra token. which I didn't account for, but I don't think we could have got that to be a draw. Maybe we could have. Maybe we could have pushed through enough damage. Would have been close. In any case, yeah, good match.
Well played, Reuben. Wow, what a match. Thanks everybody, that was really fun. Showing you some of the new cards that are available in Revelations, and yeah, some of the ways that can be played in different decks. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and yeah.
And yeah, you can play the game for free on Steam at the moment. So check that out.
Final shout out, if you are listening to this while the Kickstarter is still on, we are almost at our goal. So yes, if it inspires you to help us with a pledge or increase your pledge, then we would really appreciate it and welcome that. Take care everyone, and have a fantastic